Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, welcome, and if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for always watching my videos. And this video I'll be sharing how I made this lovely monostrap dress, bustier dress for my sister. As you can see, the video on the right is the style inspiration, and this is what I created. It's so lovely. It's the fitting for me. So let's get started already. So on this pattern paper, I already have a basic bodice pattern with the measurements I'll be working with, and I added a lot of allowances because when you're drafting a bustier, you need a lot of allowance. And this pattern paper is on a fold, guys. To draft a monostrap pattern, you need your paper to be on a fold. So the next thing I need to do is to draft my princess dart bustier. So I'll mark the bust span measurement, which is also known as nipple to nipple, and in this case it is 4 inches from the center point, from the center of the dress. So I'll connect that line together and then I'll take in my darts. I've explained in my other videos how to take this measurement, but I will still go through it again briefly. So I marked 2.5 inches on the other side, and on this side I'm marking 1.5 inches for the dart. So to get this measurement, it's just going to be subtracting your round under bust from your round bust measurement. Whatever you get, you divide it by 2. And in this video, for the sake of this tutorial, I am working with 42 inches round bust and 32 inches under bust, which gives me 5 inches. So that 5 inches I got, I'm going to divide it by 2, which is going to give me 2.5 inches. And that is what I marked on this other side. So that 2.5 inches I have gotten, I'm also going to divide it by 2, and that gives me 1.25. So I'll mark 1.25 on the other side that is close to the center of the pattern. So I need to label my pattern now so that everything I'm doing on this pattern is clear and easy to follow. So I'll come back to the pattern now and I'll mark 1 inch under the bust line, and I'll also take my 2.5 inches and mark it at that point, and I'll also transfer the 1.25 inches up there. So once that is done, I can now connect the darts. So I'm going to connect this other part like this, and then I'll use my curved ruler to create the cup for the dress. So if you're watching this video and you're not yet subscribed to this channel, please subscribe to this channel. Thank you. It's free to subscribe, please, and like this video. Thank you very much. So I'll come to the shoulder and I'll mark the midpoint there. I will just take the measurement around the armhole and mark the midpoint. Then I'll go up from the bust line by 1 inch and mark it. Then I would also take the dart measurement for the shoulder, the armhole area. So I'm marking the smaller figure I got, which is 1.25 at the armhole area. So once I've marked those points, I'm just going to connect it to that 1 inch I went above the bust line. So I'll extend that line like that and then connect all the dots to that 1 inch like this. So just look at what I'm doing and you are going to understand. So once that is done, as usual, I will need to replace the dart I have taken at the armhole area. So I'll add 1.25 and 1.25 and extend the armhole area by what I get. So as you can see, I'm just going to extend that line, and this is going to be the new armhole for the pattern. So if you fail to do this, like I always say, you are going to run into trouble because your pattern, you are going to lose some inches if you do not add this. So after doing that, I'm going to take in all my measurements, all the inches I have. So before doing that, I'm just going to blend this point because we do not want any sharp edges. If you do not blend the bust point area, when you're done sewing, you see that your dress is pointy at the bust, the nipple part. So now I'm going to take back all the darts I have added to this pattern. So if you do not do this, you would have a shortage. So please make sure you take back all the allowances, and this is why I always advise you have enough space on your pattern before you start drafting a bustier. So I'll take everything and I would extend it like that. So after doing that, I'm going to connect, and I'll always say that when you're connecting this part, it might not make sense, it might not have a nice shape, but just ignore, just continue with whatever shape it gives you. Right, by the time you're done sewing, it's going to look good. So now I'm going to add my sewing allowance. I'm adding 1.5 inches for the sewing allowance all round, and I'm going to connect that. So this is me just trying to indicate that the bottom part is my allowance. I always advise you work with at least 1.5 inches allowance. Even if it's too long, you can always cut it out. And now I have opened this pattern paper because I'm about to create the monostrap for this dress. And I'll extend my bust line, only my bust line, in order to create this monostrap. Then I'll also mark my chest points because I need to really take note of where I want this this cut to be. So if you take it too low, your bust will be exposed. So I wanted this to look exactly like the dress I was creating, so I went up by 2 inches from the chest line. Then I also marked the bust, round bust measurement divided by 4, so that I would know the space I am working with and how it's going to look by the time I'm done sewing. So now I just made a straight cut, like a slash, because as you can see in the picture, the the monostrap was like it's a straight line, and it did not curve from the neck area. So I'll just place my ruler in, I'll just keep it in place and create that straight cut from the neckline area. So this is what it's going to look like. And from that point there, I'll just confirm if that slash goes through the nipple to nipple. And as you can see, it is okay. And I'm sure that this cut goes around the center and the nipple, the bust pan area. So I will now blend the remaining parts to that point like this. So I'm just going to blend it like this so that it connects with that point over there. And with that, the monostrap is now created. So I'm going to cut off the other area because it is no longer needed. So I'll cut this off from the whole paper, leaving the allowances on the side. So now we're done with the front piece. What we need to do is to create the back pattern. So I'll place this and transfer all the lines on the back pattern. Take note, the back paper is also on a fold. So because the back of this dress will also have that cut behind. So I'll mark 1/2 inch. At the back, we're just creating a basic dart because there's no bust at the back. So I'll just connect that 1/2 inch to the bust point, and at the back, the dart gets to the bust point area. So you can work with this if you want, but if you want that princess line, you can also come to the shoulder and mark half of an inch, and then connect it to that we have at the bottom area, at the bust area. So I'll go up by 1 inch at the bust point and connect all those lines. And once I'm done doing that, I'm just going to create that curve. And once that is done, don't forget to take back the inches you have marked at the armhole area and extend the armhole. If you forget to do this, you would run short of your fabric. So that's a new armhole, and now I'll transfer all the darts and mark my sewing allowance, which is 1.5 inches, because I took 1.5 inches as the sewing allowance at the front. So I'm just going to do that and connect, and this is going to be the back pattern for the dress. So once that is done, I'm going to open it also because I want to create the monostrap. But before I do this, I need to label the front of the back. That's if this makes sense, because you like the good side of the back piece. So I'll also mark the front of the front. This step is very important. If you miss this step, you are going to mess up everything. So once I have done that, back bodies. So I'm just trying to label the back bodies for the front part of the back bodies. So once that is done, I'm going to arrange these papers the way the dress is going to look when it is worn, like the back facing back like this, and then I would align the center of these patterns. Don't forget the front is very big, like it's bigger than the back. So just ignore the side allowances. Just make sure the front aligns. And as you can see, I cut out the back neckline by mistake, and I was not supposed to do that. So this is why it's important to draft on your pattern first before you transfer to your fabric. If I had done this on the fabric, there would have been no remedy. So I just had to pin that down again so that I can get the actual neckline I am looking for. So I pinned that. I'll just place the center on the center of the back like that, how it's going to be on the body. So once I'm done placing it across like that, and I am sure that the center is on it, so as you can see, I'm even using my dumbbell to place this so that I am sure that these patterns are in place. So I drop my dumbbell on the pattern so that it keeps it in place while I cut out. So I'm just going to trace the neckline to be exactly like the front. So just take your time and do this so that you get accurate. So you have an accurate cut. And once that is done, I would now cut out the pieces for the front bodies. Don't forget, this is a bustier, and we are going to cut out all these darts. So just take note and look at how I'm going to cut this, and you're going to understand. So I'll cut out the armhole first. Don't forget, we extended the armhole, and I'm cutting on the new armhole. So I would also cut out the bustier, the cup area, and make sure you are not giving any sharp edges. Just curve your hands like that at that point so that it is perfect by the time you're done sewing. Then I will also cut the center part. So after cutting that, I'll cut the center part of this pattern, and that will be all for the front borders. Please subscribe to this channel if you have not done that yet. I believe if you watch this video to this point, then you find this video helpful. Please just like this video. Please just like it and subscribe if you have not yet done that. So this is the center of this front piece, and these are the sides. And moving on, I'm going to cut out the back. And please, while I was drafting the back, I forgot to put a zip allowance. Please and please do not forget to add zip allowance. And as you can see, I added that line to go above because the other part would need that extension. So cut out the darts and we have the back. We have the back pattern. So I'll place these patterns on my fabric and I'm going to cut them exactly how they are. So this is what the back is looking like. I'm going to place these patterns on my fabric and cut them the way they look right now. And for the center, I'm going to split it open. So I will split the center open for the zip allowance. Please and please do not forget to add your zip allowance. If you forget to add your zip allowance, you would you would run into trouble. So just make sure you add an allowance while cutting on fabric. So this is the front bodice and I've cut it out on fabric, and I did not add any allowance on the side because I already added 1.5 at the side. So for the center, I added half of an inch all around. I added half of an inch on the center part and at the top because I'll be turning it with a lining. And please make sure you cut the fabric the same way it looks. As you can see, the pattern is facing up, and that's how the fabric too is facing up. The good side is facing up. And this is the back piece. I've added an allowance for my zip, like I said. And on the side, I did not add any allowance. I only added allowance on the center part where I'll be joining it to the center. I only added allowance and I cut out lining that looks exactly the same like the fabric. For the center of the bodice, I added allowance all around, and the center part has a zip allowance. So this brings us to the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching till this point. If you've not liked this video, please like it. It shows that people appreciate my content. And please, if you're a regular viewer, drop a comment. I would like to connect with you. Thank you so much and bye.